joining us this afternoon to talk about what has happened so far at the National Sport Festival. He's a sports journalist, some call him combat sports journalist, but it's everything when it comes to the world of sports in Nigeria. Dari Kuti joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Dari Kuti. Thank you very much for joining.
Yes, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be on the show this afternoon. All
right, Dari Kuti, so far so good. It's been, some would say an amazing sports festival so far. We've seen record-breaking moments. We've seen a bit of timely reports. I mean, we've seen reports flying in, coming left, right, center, and some states that did not used to compete favorably and now dominating this year's sports festival. What do you think has changed, and what do you make of the festival after 4 days?
Well, the festival has been exciting. When you see, you notice that there has been a lot of changes. In the time past, you see that from the 1 to the 2, Delta would have been leading, but currently Bayelsa was leading the medal table, and that's to tell you that states this time around are preparing very, very hard for not only the National Youth Games, but also the National Sports Festival. When you look at what's happening over there, you see states like Rivers, Osun, doing well. Akwa Ibom, as usual, they're always at the top 5. Plateau also are also doing well in this tournament. But you see that Bayelsa State are not making noise. Bayelsa, they go to the festival, win medals, and before you know it, they are first between first 3. I think we must commend the current commissioner, who is also the president of Nigeria Wrestling Federation, Igali. Since he came on board, he has been doing something intentional. And I think this is a clarion call to the remaining states of the federation that is high time they give competent people jobs of commissioner and SA of sport, not only to their political persons who they just want to compensate. Sport is business, and that is what Bayelsa State, Delta State, and Ogun State have been doing.
All right, Dari Kuti, let's move on now to another story that broke out today. The story about logistics and transportation. Now, the 22nd National Sport Festival is facing major transportation issues. Athletes and officials at Babcock University are struggling to reach match venues, especially in Abeokuta and Alake. And of course, we're being joined by a sports journalist who is currently in Ogun State. Ibrahim Tukur is from the Borno State Sports Council. He joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Ibrahim. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
All right, Ibrahim, can you confirm your exact location right there in Ogun State?
Yeah, right now I am in Abeokuta, MKO Abiola National Stadium. Even though we came from a Babcock Hotel, that is a Babcock University, that is in Shagamu. But right now I'm in the MKO Abiola Stadium.
All right, take us through the current situation on ground regarding transportation for athletes and officials. I mean, we saw pictures of athletes being stranded, waiting to get into the bus to go for their games. Tell us what's the latest.
Actually, despite the fact that all the 36 states, including the FCT, were in the Ogun State for the National Sports Festival. And it's a challenging one, considering if you see the medal table. So all the athletes and the officials have it in mind, a big challenge to them. And that's the kind of situation has become a challenge to those that live in the Shagamu before they move from Shagamu to either Abiola Stadium or Aleke Sports Complex, which is difficult where some athletes were stranded and their officials busy looking for when they chartered a bus or a car that moved them, despite the distance from the Shagamu to Abeokuta. That's the big challenge. Despite the fact that there are some buses which were primarily arranged for the movement of the officials, but are not enough for all the athletes to make it on a time.
All right, Ibrahim, you've given us that update, but let me come to Dari Kuti now. Dari Kuti, if you're still here, I mean, over the years, you've covered so many national sport festivals. This challenge should be to the local organizing committee. I mean, according to Ibrahim, he says it's not like there are no buses, but there are not enough buses to convey athletes and officials to venues, and this might also affect how they prepare towards their respective matches or bouts. What do you think can be done better? Who should this blame go to? Having to have this kind of challenge in just 4 days of the competition.
Well, I think it's sad that we are having this kind of issue just 4 days to the competition. Previously, we were in Edo State, we were in Delta State. The issue of transportation was not this terrible. And you will not blame either the bus driver or anything, but you should know that the area, Abeokuta, Shagamu, and Remo, these are places where people who work in Lagos, they live, and whether you like it or not, there will be transportation challenges before you get to your venue, hold up. This is not exonerating the LOC, because the LOC should have done their assignment properly and put up hostel accommodation or hotel accommodation in areas where they feel will be closer to the athlete. You know, in the Southwest, when you say, okay, from point A to point B is 30 minutes, you must factor traffic jam in all these things, because traffic in the Southwest is usually unforeseen. You might decide that you want to go from, will I say, Alake to Remo within 30 minutes, and you might end up spending 1 hour. I feel the LOC should give these vehicles escorts. We saw it during the African Games. They can do it now. Give them a motor carrier that can take them to their venue so that they will meet up. The boxers complained about this, that some of them missed out in their games because of the hold up. So I think the organizers should look at the issue of transportation, so that it will not overshadow the success of these games.
All right, let me come to Ibrahim before I let you go, Ibrahim. I know you are about to go for another venue, for games. What are the participants and coaches saying about this particular issue, and are the event organizers taking any major steps towards resolving the problem? I mean, we've identified that there is a problem, but what steps are the organizers, the LOC, doing to improve on the transportation system? All right, while we'll wait for Ibrahim to respond, and Darikuti did say that, of course, we need to have close proximity when it comes to the hostel and the games. I remember when it comes to, I think the Edo State Sports Festival, games were at the University of Benin, and it's not, far from the hostels, especially when you talk about the Samuel Gbominda Stadium, the distance is not so far. And when you compare what we have at the moment, and look at the National Youth Games. The National Youth Games in time past usually hold at the University of Ilorin, where we have majority of states reside in the school, and we have almost 80% of the facilities inside the school. So it also encourages, helps the athletes prepare well and, go to the venues in less than, 10, 20 minutes. But Darikuti, looking ahead, we have interesting one right there in Abeokuta. Kano State just today clinched its first gold medal at the National Sports Festival right there in Abeokuta. And who else than Orobosa, who, of course, got a medal in weightlifting, and that, of course, has ensured that Kano State would say, yes, we have finally come to the sport festival. Lucky Orobosa. I mean, yes, the name strikes like a name not from Kano State, but the sports festival allows you to compete for any state. But what do you make of this weightlifting producing lots and lots of prospects in the sport?
Yes, it's a good one, because if you look at the weightlifting sports, you see that we have lots of young ones coming up. When you look at the likes of Larry Oye, the younger one, she was at the Youth Games previously, and now she's participating at the National Sport Festival. When you look at someone like Eddie Diong also has been doing well in the weightlifting event. Tournament like this gives you the opportunity to, will I say, showcase yourself, because most times some of these athletes who are going to other states to win medals are either second fiddle in their states, because you already have an established champion. So Orobosa winning a gold medal for Kano is a good one, and you should also expect another good medal from Kano State in the wrestling event, because we have an athlete, I'll confirm, but Adijat, African champion, wrestled for Kano at the last National Sports Festival and gave Kano State only a gold medal at the wrestling event. So this time around, I think she also win a gold medal for Kano in the wrestling event if she represents them.
All right, interesting one right there. I mean, good to also see that our young athletes are moving from the National Youth Games to the National Sports Festival. They are becoming champions already. Let's talk about this. Interesting news coming out from the National Sports Festival. Glory Okon Marcos, a para-athlete representing Team Akwa Ibom. Initially, her name was part of the athletes that have been banned due to doping. And we now hear that, contrary to the reports and the allegations are not true, her name was mistakenly listed on the anti-doping list. But after a thorough review, she has been exonerated and she will be part of the National Sports Festival. Dari Kuti, how much of positive news is this for Team Akwa Ibom?
Well, it's a positive one, but I'm not so happy because it's a terrible mistake on the part of the organizers. Bad news travels extremely far, and you know her name has already been posted on several online medium, both electronic and the rest. So coming back to clear of anti-doping, I think is a good one for her because there will be records that she was not involved in doping. But we can do better. We should not rush to publish names if we are not clear of them. And I'm sure Akwa Ibom State will be excited, including the athletes who they have invested so much in. And I'm sure she's going to deliver a medal for Akwa Ibom in our event.
All right, Kuti, before we let you go, I mean, you just talked about, the news being circulated and turned out to be false. This might also have a major impact in the athletes' preparedness towards the competition, having gone through a series of trauma, going through trauma, knowing fully well that she's clean. At the end of the day, they said that doping is a major issue on the part of the athletes, and then coming back to say you're free to compete. Don't you think that there should be some repercussions? Somebody actually needs to take a fall for this, knowing fully well that they did not do their due diligence before releasing her name. Somebody has to say, own up to this particular mistake, and then there should be consequences.
Well, like I said in a previous edition of this show, I expected that the MOC should have screened out any athletes having doping allegations. For them to come to the festival and issue a statement that these persons or people have been banned from the festival, I think is not good for the nation. They shouldn't have been anywhere near the festival. And for me, it shows that we really have a lot of work to do in our system and in our compilation of names. When you go to advanced countries, you'll see that by the time you have issue of doping and you send your accreditation to the organizers, they send it back to the country or to the states, informing them that this person has been banned. But for them to come down to the games and now issuing a statement of, I think is a sad one, and we can do better. I know we can do better. It's a gradual process, but we need to take processes that will last long and not affect us in the near future.
All right, Dari Kuti, Bayelsa State still top the medal table, looking like a time where Bayelsa would win this, but Delta State chasing and trying to get back to where they always know how they always been when it comes to sports in Nigeria. But let's talk about Ogun State. Ogun State is the host state, and they seem not to be there when it comes to competing. I mean, Ogun State so far 5 gold medals compared to Bayelsa 23 gold, Delta 17 gold, Oyo State 7 gold. What do you think is really what do you think is the issue with Ogun State's performance so far? You think it's early days? We should give them some time, and they might just come up with so many goals and then go back to the top 3.
Well, nothing is wrong with Ogun State. I must be honest with you. The National Sports Festival is not a do or die affair, and it's not a must for you to host and win. You should remember that Edo State hosted it in 2020 and they did not win the event. So Ogun State, I'm happy they were able to maintain their athletes, most of the athletes they have, and did not go for machineries, because we know in the past when some states when they bid, they want to bring the best athletes to their state. So I'm happy those athletes who have been training with Ogun State are retained to compete. And I'm sure this will be an eye-opener for the states and for the governor to know that it's high time we invest in sports, it's high time we invest in the athletes, so that when tournaments like this comes, they'll be able to give the state medals instead of running helter-skelter to import other top athletes from other countries.
All right, I must say a big thank you to you, Dari Kuti, for your quality time. I mean, it's always interesting talking about Nigerian sports with you. We look forward to having you join us again. And of course, we hope that the state you probably would love to see, compete favorably. We hope that they get to the medals, up there in the medals table. But all the same, the very best of sports wins in Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining.
It's a pleasure to be on the show.